All right, y'all. Back again. Another video. This is going to be a unique one. I am finally going to talk about Lamelo Ball on my channel. Now, for any of you guys who follow me for any length of time, you guys know how I feel about Lamelo. I don't hate him. I'm not going to say I don't like him because I do like him. Uh, he's just on the lower end of the Ball family as far as who I care about, you know. But I got in my I guess video suggestions. Uh, Gilbert Arenas channel, he was talking with Swaggy P, Nick Young, uh, about Lamelo being top 10. And I thought it was interesting because of how it started and the way the question went. Because it basically was like, hey man, Lamelo Ball top 10. He was like, and John and Gil was like, okay, wait a minute. I don't believe that shit. But in order to really figure that out, we got to figure out what you're talking about. Like, what kind of point guards are we talking about? We talking about like pure point, or are we talking about modern day scoring guard points, etc. Nick Young was just like in general, he's a point guard. There's certain guys Nick Young didn't include, like LeBron, Luka, etc. But as they were going on, I guess he started to kind of be like, okay, fine, he's a point guard, yada yada yada. So my thing is this, and I'm gonna stay on this hill and die on it. At worst, Lamelo and Zoe are tied right now. At best, Lonzo is better than him. Um, and people are gonna be like, "What?" Here's my thing, right? Lamelo don't offer what Zoe offers on defense. Period. That's not even a competition. Even if you're a Melo fan, just an NBA fan, a Ball fan, or whatnot, you gotta admit Lonzo is supremely better on the defensive end of the ball versus Melo, right? I'm not gonna get an argument there. Shooting, Lonzo is better than the Melo is at shooting. You guys can't argue that. The stats bear that out. Now, the passing, it's equal. I still prefer Lonzo in the open court over Melo, but in the half court, as far as creation and gravity, offensive gravity is concerned, LaMelo got him beat. I think it just depends on the situation. But 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be in transition when you're playing offense. You're going to be in the half court. So LaMelo's passing carries more weight on the offensive end because of how he passes in the half court and creates and the gravity that comes with it. Having said all of that, they're about equals in rebounding right now. Even though Lonzo is not really being played to, get the ball and rebound based on his role. LaMelo, however, is a much superior scorer. He may not be able to shoot like Zoe can, but when it comes to putting the ball in the hole, he's way better than Zoe. And his skill cap will be way higher than Zoe's. At peak, he will be way better than Zoe at that, period. So when you look at it, I pick Zoe over Melo for those reasons. Now, if we're going to compare them from their rookie years, that's a different story. LaMelo, right now, current Melo, is better than Lonzo was in Lonzo's rookie year. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, Melo got some blessings and advantages that Zoe didn't get. Jermaine Jackson, ex-NBA player, has been tutoring Melo pretty much since Spire. NBL Spire, and even before the season started, working with him to get him ready for the NBA game. Lonzo never had that. LaMelo's also played a variety of different levels of talent that Lonzo never got to play because he got to play overseas, JBA tour. People want to discredit JBA. Look, different systems, different countries where you don't necessarily know players and you got to go in and just beat them and play them. Get you used to various different types of styles and learning how to play basketball against, you know, any kind of player. So Melo database for basketball is deeper than Lonzo's was at that age. Along with he got Jermaine Jackson to help him with his shot mechanics and other stuff that Lonzo never had. So he got a huge jump from just that alone. Um, but having said all of that, it's not what I want to talk about. This is not a LaMelo versus Lonzo video. I just wanted to go ahead and lay this foundation piece for what I'm about to get into. So here's the thing. Is he a top 10 point guard? That's the question. Are there 10 point guards better than LaMelo Ball right now? Answer is yes. True answer is yes. But it also depends on how you work this question too. Because with your definition of a point guard affects a lot. If you're talking pure point guard, pure passing, he's top 10. If you're talking scoring point guard, he is not. And if you're talking about a combination of the two, he is not. The reason why he is not in both is because the value that some of these other guys are giving you in their scoring, and in some cases other stats too, far outweighs LaMelo Ball. But he's not far off. So when we talking about pure point guards, me breaking this down how I feel about LaMelo, and Lonzo in framework kind of puts it in line of what I think, the actual pure point guards in the league are. There's not too many of them if we're being honest. There's not too many of them. And most of the guards today, the new crop that are coming in are hybrids. They have other skill sets or tools that make them unique or better. For instance, Ben Simmons. People say, well, Ben Simmons didn't change. Fuck that. We're not looking at the actual player in terms of the NBA and their history. We're looking at what they have. Ben Simmons is an anomaly. He's 6'10", 6'9", 6'10" point guard, right? First of all, that's like a power forward center height. Let's just be clear. He's a center's height, essentially. So he can see over the court when he's passing. There's nobody else he's going to be in front of, or is going to be in front of him that's going to prevent him from making a pass in the half court. He can literally see all over the court, even in transition. But he can defend all 5 positions. He is the only point guard in the league who literally has no weakness against centers, one-on-one, because he is a center physically. He can guard post men. He literally is the only point guard, probably even in NBA history, who can say this. Which is why, if you're going to build a team, Joel Embiid don't need to be with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons needs his own team. He needs to be the point center. Which is why whenever Joel is out, his game shoots through the roof and vice versa. They really need to be apart. It's just their skill sets don't complement each other for what they want to do, which is okay. But in terms of point guards, what are point guards historically? Initiate the offense. Ben Simmons does that. Get the ball to the right guy. Does that. Control the pace of the game. And basically is an extension of the coach. They're the on-field coach, essentially. The control tower for everything that goes on. Now, Ben Simmons does all that. But the defense is not the ability to guard all 5. The rebounding, which is not typically a point guard trait because point guards are usually the smallest guys on the court. Those things typically are not associated with a point guard. You see what I'm saying? So, that's just one example. I've told you guys about Lonzo. I'm not going to beat the Lonzo bush too much. You guys already know what that is. Toolbox, he can shoot. Basically, Lonzo is like a combination of both guards as far as being a pure, shooting guard, a passer of the point guard, and basically being able to, being with the height of a small forward. He's like a combination of all 3 positions. He could play all 3. I wouldn't ever want to see him. I wouldn't ever want to see him play small forward. unless it's a bench unit and you need to play small ball. But he's your traditional point guard with other skill sets that don't necessarily apply to the point guard. Again, he's one of the few point guards in the league that can actually guard 1 through 3. And in some cases, he can guard 4s depending on who's playing the 4, which is freaking ridiculous. That's not something you expect. He's one of the better rebounders as a point guard. Normally, again, rebounding is not a trait associated with most point guards. Obviously the passing, the playmaking, and the defense and stuff. Just stuff you're not usually used to that don't come associated with point guards. If you think about it, like traditional point guard be someone like a John Stockton, guys like that. You normally don't expect that from your point guards. Now, and that's just two. Now we got guys like Luka, scorers who have passing ability and need the ball in their hand. Or Harden Harden is playing point guard, which he should have been playing point guard, I think, his entire career. He's 6'5". He's always been a savant of a passer, plus his offensive gravity. He should have always been playing point guard. He needs the ball in his hands anyway. Let him play point guard. He can make the decisions and everything. There's all these different kind of guys that have these skill sets. Even with Harden. Harden is one of the greatest scorers in NBA history. Not a shot on the court he really can't take or make. Period. These things aren't associated with your typical point guards. Okay? Ja Morant, he's more like a combo guard. He's like a shoot guard, point guard mix. He's got skill traits of both. Okay? He's one of the newer guys. You see what I'm saying? Like, some of these guys aren't necessarily like true pure point guards. They have other skills that allow them to be different things. Now, Ja is 6'2", 6'3", so he can't really play an alternative position like some of these other guys, but he still fits that mold of what I'm saying about modern guards. So when it comes to LaMelo, we're going to comp LaMelo. We'll compare LaMelo to his peers. There's way too many other guys. First of all, let's talk about experience. NBA Pro experience is different. It's a different kind of game, and once you master the NBA from a point guard's perspective, you're an expert. Look at Chris Paul. Chris Paul's 36 years old and is still making an impact on the team as a starting point guard. Like, his mastery of the game, his ability to dissect the game is cerebral, elite. It is all-time great. And he's physically past his prime. That's a learning curve. So when we're going to talk about LaMelo and John Wall, there's certain things that I like that LaMelo does that John Wall can't do, but John Wall's understanding of NBA and pro level basketball is way higher than Melo's. So what LaMelo has in talent, he can't necessarily override in experience yet. So those guys, the ones who played longer, they're going to have a higher level of skill currently than LaMelo has. So is he going to be top 10? No. But if we're just talking about raw point guarding, I think there's a solid case for him to be top 10. Now, I'm not going to go in and make a list of who I believe top 10 point guards is. When I need to go look at the stats and educate myself before I go in and do that, because I'm just going to talk about the main ones. If I did that, and I guess that's not something I want to put out yet. But is he top 10? Like I said, it depends on how you're assessing the value of the point guard. I personally don't view him as a top 10 point guard yet. But he will be. He will be superstar. He has superstar. He's always had superstar written all over him. He will be a superstar point guard. There's going to come a time in the future where LaMelo is either going to be top 5 or top 10 players in the league. Period. And there won't be any denying it. Period. Is he better than someone like Ricky Rubio? That's contextually depends. As far as running an NBA team, Ricky Rubio has way more experience, so he's better. But is he more talented than Lamelo? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So you see what I'm saying? There's a difference. There's not a there's not a scheme that Rubio hasn't seen. There are schemes Lamelo hasn't seen yet. So he has to get that through experience. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. So contextually, there's the talent that he has versus the in-game experience of a pro that he doesn't yet have. You know, he's played overseas. He's got that experience, so he can adapt quickly. Which is why I don't think it's going to take long for him to get to that point. You know, because he's had these various different experiences that most others don't have. It's not going to take him long. Look at Luka. Luka plays for my Mavs. Luka came in basically 25-5 first year, got used to the league. It took him a year to get used to the league, but he's already played overseas. Different game. Coming over here, you got to get used to the game. When you realize I'm a better technical player than 99% of the players in the league, now it's time to just use what I know how to use, plus combine it with what I've learned in this league or what I need to learn for this league. It took him a year. Now Luka is like top 10, period. And as the old guard, KD, LeBron, Steph, all these guys start phasing out because they're too old, Luka's going to start coming top 3, top 2, top 1 maybe. That's where we're getting to. Like, is Luka better than LaMelo? Absolutely. Is Luka more talented than LaMelo? I gotta say, I gotta say, that one may be a lot closer than you think. It may be a lot closer than you think. People will probably say, hell no, because Luka's been in for 3 years now. He's actually been a pro for a lot longer if you count his European League years. What was it, Real Madrid or whatever it's called? I'm not sure. I don't pay attention to the European League or whatever. But whatever his team was over there. But that could be a hotly debated thing. You know, there's guys like Trae Young. Trae Young's a cerebral passer, really good shooter, has mad range. He's still a combo guard. He's not like your pure point guard. He's not traditional. He's got 3 guard abilities, but he's in a like point guard frame, if that makes sense. Can play make. He's got tons of gravity, which makes him effective. Is LaMelo better than him right now? But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. LaMelo has one of the highest ceilings you could imagine for a guy coming in. You know, ultimately, the only thing that I don't think he'll ever be able to do, I'm not sure if he'll ever crack 40% three-point shooting consistently. Zoe's on his way to get that this year. On his second year of his jump shot. Not even 2 full years. It's probably really more like a year and a half. He's about to crack 40. And Zoe was always the best shooter of the Ball brothers, with the exception of Jello. Now, Jello was the best scorer, like as far as putting the ball in the hole. If you think about it, LaMelo is just a fusion of Jello and Zoe put together. Like, you put both of them together, made one player, that's Melo. But he's not, like, at this point, from what I've seen from Jello in the past versus Zoe is supremely better at shooting right now. We don't know what Jello could have been because he's never played in the league. He hasn't played ball in some years, which is why it's important. He needs to actually go get on a team to start playing. But, again, Lonzo's probably going to be a 40% shooter for his career when it's all said and done. LaMelo, I doubt. LaMelo probably is going to be 37, 38 from 3. You know, I just don't see it. Free throws, probably going to be Zoe too. You know, and people are going to talk about how well Melo is shooting this year. I get it. LaMelo's had a lot more time to practice and get ready. See, that's another thing. LaMelo benefits from the fact that Zoe went into the league, so he got to see a lot of stuff that Zoe went through. Zoe got to force feed him this information early. Zoe didn't get this. Zoe had to take his lumps. So Zoe is starting to get to that point. LaMelo was always working on free throws with Jermaine Jackson, working on foot placement for his jump shot, his push shot. You know, so that's an advantage he had coming in that Zoe didn't have. That maybe if they had switched roles, maybe Zoe would be as good as LaMelo is, if not better. On the flip side, you don't know. Life didn't work itself out like that. But again, like I said, LaMelo is supremely talented. I'm not sure he'll ever be the same player that Zoe is on defense. If he becomes like even some of what Zoe is on defense, he'll be the best player in the league. Or for sure he's going to be better than Lonzo. But he might be best player in the league because Lonzo's defense is like second, first team all defense level. Rebounding, he's a little bit taller, so he should outdo Lonzo in that. Scoring, I've already said. And even as it comes to the rest of the league, like look at your comps, look at your competition, right? The only guys with height like that seriously right now is Ben Simmons and Luka and his brother. There's no other younger player guard-ish that has that kind of size. So of the guards coming up, and it's not including Cade Cunningham and those guys who's coming out of college this year. Of those guys coming up, LaMelo is going to be right there with Ben Simmons leading in rebounding. Like this new generation of guard is going to get rebounds. It's going to be expected to get rebounds. Somewhere between 6 or more a game. So if you look at like his competition, Ben Simmons can't shoot. Well, LaMelo can shoot. You shoot better than most. At least league average. He can't finish physically like a Ben Simmons. But he's a better shooter. He's more physical than a Luka. But I don't think he's as technically savvy as Luka because Luka is more technically refined. I also believe Luka's IQ is higher than all of them. So I'm doing this to make it plain. Like if we're trying to sit here and assess what LaMelo is and his value and all this other stuff contextually, there's a level. There's the guys who've been in the league for a while. Okay. You've been in the league, you've been playing point guard 6-7 years in the league. Look, even Ricky Rubio has something he offers that LaMelo can't. That's experience. Mastery or understanding of pro ball. I'm not saying it's better, but there's something to be said for, hey, I've been in my field for so long, I've seen everything, I know everything, I can teach you how to do such and such, because there's things that you're going to see that you're not prepared for. So while LaMelo's talent is like, his experience is like that. You see what I'm saying? That's going to be the thing that's going to take time. Plus, Borregos is likely not going to be his coach. Whoever gets their hands on LaMelo and Rozier and them and how they built that team, they're going to play completely different. So he's going to accumulate stats. Depending on how long Borregos is there and what they try to do, running that Princeton offense, I don't know what is going to, I don't know who's going to coach that team. What if somebody like Earl Watson gets a hold of him? Then you see what he did with Booker. Imagine LaMelo. You see what I'm saying? So, is he top 10? Pure passer, pure point guard. I think there's an argument to be made he's there. Everything else that we consider point guards, like scoring guards, no. Combination of the two, no. There's just too many other guys that are ahead of him right now. Definitely, if we're just limiting just the 25 and under guys, he's up there. He is definitely up there. I'd still take Zoe over him. I would still take Zoe over him for right now. Maybe next year or the next 2 years that won't be the case, but hey, Zoe is still improving too. We still haven't seen his full cap yet. So I know people are going to look at me crazy for saying Zoe, but look, I value the defensive end of the ball too. I really do. There's something to be said for it. I don't think LaMelo is oppressive enough on offense yet to override that. Like Trae Young, I could definitely say I would probably take Trae Young over Zoe, but it also depends on the team. I think Trae Young has more carry potential right now, um, but I like teams that have players that play on both sides of the ball because it is no matter what you say, it's a two-sided ball game. So I don't like to have players on the court that's not going to play both sides of the ball. I'm just going to be honest. So for me, I would have Lamelo a little bit lower, you know, but I also have Trae Young lower. Um, but I do appreciate the oppressiveness on offense that Trae Young offers, which is why I value him to some degree higher than maybe some others would. You know, that's how it goes for me. You know, when you assess these players, it's kind of like, do you have something what I guess you'd call it transcendent? I use the word oppressive, um, but I'm a gamer, so oppressive, transcendent, something like that. His ability to stretch the floor, Trae Young, is it's God level. God level meaning it's the best of the best. Like there's not too many people with range like him. Dame, Steph, um, Trey. That's about it. You know, LeBron is starting to try to get it back there, but he can't do that. He can't do that every game. Sorry, he just can't. You know, that's pretty much it. You know, half court shot, jump. You know, 3-point makers. I don't even know if KD can hit that shot consistently. And KD's one of the best scorers ever, and he's a shooter too. Um, so you know, it just depends, man. Would I put him top 10? Absolutely not. There's way too many guys uh, that just do more. Okay, you know, it just if I was going to do a top 5 point guards, and I'm not talking about guys like Luka or LeBron. We're talking about top 5 point guards. I'm talking about people that actually play the position. Steph, Dame, Ben. Yeah, Ben Simmons. Uh, shit. Now I actually got to think about this. I shouldn't open that can of worms because now I got to actually think about it. Ja. Shit, who's in the All Star game? Harden. Like that's pretty much it. We're talking about like top 5 um, point guards right now. Steph, Dame, Trey. I mean Steph, Dame, Ben, uh, Harden, and Ja. And people are like, well, Ben Simmons. Yeah, I get it, but Ben Simmons guards all 5. Man, come on. Like, who cares he don't shoot 3? Just put literally the answer to Ben Simmons. I'm gonna tell you the answer to Ben Simmons is put Ben Simmons at the 5 and just put him around a bunch of shooters and like a god tier like Vic Oladipo that can hit at all 3 levels kind of guy. That's how you unlock Ben Simmons. I'm telling you right now. If y'all do that, y'all wouldn't worry about his ability to stretch because what happens is now he's got the ball at the top of the key. You're gonna have to pack the paint. If you pack the paint, he's just gonna hit somebody. And he's going to kill you. Even if you keep him from scoring at the rim, he'll get 22 assists a game. While fouling you out. And clamping whoever your best guy is. Okay? See, a lot of people don't like him because he just don't shoot. That's okay. It's okay if you build around him right. It's not okay if you start putting guys that can't shoot around him. Then it's like, yeah, then it's a problem. Somebody got to shoot. But if you literally play him the way he needs to be as the primary ball handler on offense and facilitator while playing as the defensive pinpoint on defense, that's how he's supposed to be played. That's what his skill set says. Is he playing like that right now? No. So he's not going to pop. And people are not going to say he's improved yet. You know, that's why these guys that make these takes on TV, I'm not going to mention their names, is like, bruh, you can't really assess someone who's not playing like proper value. Like, look at what he's supposed to do. Look at what his skill set is speaking to you to do versus how he's being played. Because, for instance, even with Lonzo has a particular set of skills. That means he's supposed to be played a particular way. But he's being used a certain other way. So there is a cap on his abilities right now. But if you put him in a different place, location, offensive style that more adheres to his skill set, his numbers will look different too. You know, that's the same thing with a lot of players in the league, but, you know, that's not how the league works. League, you get a coach, Coach decides how he wants to play. You either play that way, or you get shipped out, or a coach gets shipped out, depending on how good of a player you are. So, matter of fact, I expect Ben Simmons probably get moved this offseason. And hint, hint, so would be better than Ben on the Sixers. I said it. He would be a much better fit with Joel Embiid on the Sixers. Their ceiling would go sky high. But that's a conversation we can have for another day. Again, I don't really talk about LaMelo on this channel. Great guy, great player, great kid. I'll talk about him more when he gets better. I don't necessarily want to talk about LaMelo right now because the hype is all. He's a bald kid, so the hype is going to be high. And I say that knowing full and damn well that I bag Lonzo. So he's a bald kid, hype is going to be high naturally. And he's going to play, he's going to make flashy passes and all this other stuff. I get it. And he's really talented. I'm not going to take that away. That guy can play his ass off. But I don't want to watch that shit. Not right now. I'm still watching my boy get the bag. In a couple of years when LaMelo's out there hooping, then I'm going to sit there and watch a lot more LaMelo. But right now when he's got Terry Rozier, PJ Washington, Gordon Hayward, and some of those other guys, I'm like, I don't really care right now. At least with Lonzo, when he came out, he had Kuzma, B.I., and Nance, Randall, Jordan Clarkson, all these like all-star, 6-man-of-the-year award-winning players that are on different teams right now that the Lakers had, but they let go away for LeBron James. But, it's all good. I'm not mad. You got to do what you got to do when you're an organization. It's just sometimes I sit there and think, damn, what would have happened if Clarkson, Randall, they had Brook Lopez at one point too, but he's not the young guys, Kuz, all these guys that stayed together. How good would they be? Would they be championship contenders right now? Probably not, but they would be hooping. But that's all I got, man. I hope y'all have a good day. Peace.